pectin and starch, are hydrogels that are made out of carbohydrates. We're looking at sugar-type materials. The difference here is these are derivatives of glucose and fructose. The first one we'll look at is pectin. Pectin is a plant polysaccharide that forms gels. It has got 200 to 1,000 pectic acid molecules. Pectic acid is galacturonic acid. Your difference is up on the top rather than just having a carbon. It's got the acid group. It's got the C double bonded to the O bonded to the OH. Since it's got the acid group, the hydrogen readily dissociates, which means that this can pick in other ions. As it pulls in other ions, it's going to allow it to be attached to those other ions, which allows it to bond and form a thicker type material, such as a gel. Pectin is the outer coating of the cell. Since both cells are coated with pectin, we get something like a divalent cation, such as calcium, that will come in and link the two cells together through that acid bond. That is what we find occurring in plant cells that holds plant cells together. 75% of all pectin production worldwide goes into the formation of jams and jelly. Jams and jellies are jellified material. Certain plants make gels very easily. Other ones do not. When it doesn't, we add pectin to it to make sure that it jellifies. When you add pectin to it, you have to make sure that your acidity level is proper. Otherwise, it will not form the gel. We can purchase pectin in the form of the Sure-Gel, a fruit pectin that you use to make homemade jellies and jam. This is a material that works extremely well when you're trying to make your own jellies and jam. The pectin that we use to make the Sure-Gel comes from a couple of different sources. One source is from malice, which is basically your apple. Apple has a lot of pectin in it, which means it's very easy to make apple-type products jellify. One of the major jellies they use is apple jelly. You can add other things to it to make it have a different flavor. Apple jelly is often used. The fruit is pressed to get the material out of it, such as the juice. The material that's left over is called the pomace. Then they use the pomace in order to be able to produce the pectin. As you cut it open, you can see where the seeds are. All of the remaining material around the outside of it has got juice in it. Once you express the juice out of it, then you've got a lot of pectin left over. They would use that to be able to produce the pectin. You can also get pectin out of citrus. You're looking at using the mesocarp. The mesocarp is the area underneath the skin. This is what a citrus flower looks like. When the flower opens, it's got 5 free and separate petals. You can see that the anthers are all fused together. This is a lateral view where the anthers are all fused together, forming this little tube. You've got the stigma and the style, which this is a mature tree where you've got fruits being produced on the outside of. These are mature fruits. If you cut the mature fruit, right under the outer peel layer, you see this white material. That's called the mesocarp. That's what is going to be used to extract the pectin. You take citrus, you press the citrus out of what's left over. You can process that and get citrus oil and pectin out. We also have what we call the hydrogel, which is starch. Starch is an alpha bonded cellulose. It is broken down by enzymes. You start out with a glucose molecule. On the end of the glucose molecule, you've got the hydroxyl group. If you look at the other end of the molecule, you also see another hydroxyl group. Those two hydroxyl groups come together. Water gets removed from it. You get a bond that gives you a polymer that looks like this. That is what we call starch. It is alpha 1,4 bonded. This gives you straight chain materials. This is readily broken down by enzymes. The enzyme is called amylase. As it breaks it down into the glucose molecules. Then the glucose molecules can be used for whatever it needs. Common sources include things like cornstarch, wheat flour. Cornstarch is probably one of the larger things. If we look at starch, we have what we call amylose or regular starch, which is straight chain. It's alpha 1,4 bonded. We have the amylopectin. The amylopectin is actually alpha 1,6 bonded. What that means is rather than coming off the 1 and 4 carbons, it's actually being attached onto the number 6 carbon. And that's going to give it a branching format. It's going to make it a little bit different as far as how that can be broken apart. Starch granules are found in many plant materials, such as corn. They take the seed, they break the seed open. The starch granules are extracted with cold water. They're cold water soluble. That material can then be taken off, dried down, and processed. That gives us our cornstarch. If you add cornstarch to material, you heat up the material. When it gets to 55 to 88 degrees Celsius, the granules that the starch is made of, they open up, they allow water to get in, and it forms this gel. Alkali can also cause starch to gel. In that case, adding alkaline material to it would cause it to gel, which is one of the reasons that corn can often be processed with lye, giving us what we call hominy, which would be a type of gel. Most starch, it says, is used in the paper industry. In the food industry, it can be used as a thickener. In the food industry, when you do it, you mix it up with cold water to get it all spread out. And then you add it to warm water, and as it heats up, it is going to create this gel. If you do not add it properly, it causes it to lump up, which is why you add it to the cold water, you stir it very well, you add that to the warm material, and it will gelify. Most starch comes from corn. Corn being your largest crop worldwide. We talked about corn when we were talking about grains. Corn becomes very interesting in here. They take the seed, they cause the seed to break open, they remove the germ from it, they use the germ to process for oil, they take the rest of it, they process that for starch, then you can use the starch, the amyloplast from it, in order to be able to make all sorts of material. Pectins and starch, glucose-based material compared to some of the other materials.